Good evening, everyone, and welcome to LabTech ICT Roundtable Revival of the ICT Sector. In May 2020, an MOU between Lebanese IT Syndicate and PCA was signed, and since then, both entities have been working hard into bringing the best possible solutions for the sector, not only for it to survive, but to stand out and be as productive as it should. Today's event is initiated by Lebanese IT Syndicate, represented by President George Khoueiri, and PCA, represented by President Camille Moukarzel, joining efforts to put a steady revival plan to overcome the Lebanese financial crisis. Joining all IT professionals, hearing their thoughts, struggles, and ideas, that's what LabTech is about. This special meeting today will not only bring us all together as one united community, but will have enormous outcome to the best of the whole country's economy. It is my pleasure to announce the opening of the first session of LabTech. Our ICT advisor and master host, Rudy Shoushany, will be reading all your questions and comments. So if you have any, please post under the Q&A section in WebEx, and we will gladly be replying to all your concerns. You can watch the live stream on our Facebook page, LabTech. Now let me introduce you to our moderator, who will himself introduce you to our panelists and special guests. President of the Internet Society Lebanon, Mr. Gabriel Deek, the floor is yours.
I will tell you a little bit about Roy Badaro, who is an economist with national and international experience. He actively contributed to various initiatives aiming to reforming the Lebanese economy. His academic background provides him with an analytical perspective, both on the economic and managerial side. He is the founder of RDCL and former member of the Chamber of Commerce. He participated in international missions in various places in this planet. He is the author of a very interesting book in French, اسمه Un projet, une nation, le Liban de demain. It's an economic vision about Lebanon in the next decade, at least. Our second panelist is Joanna Abou Jaoude. مثل ما قلت لكم أنا عندي حب وغرام تجاهها. ما تواخذوني معلش إذا عم بحكي بالعربي بس هيدي الحقيقة. Joanna has a background in economics. She pursued further studies in organizational behavior at LSE, the London School of Economics. She is currently a doctoral student in decision sciences at the Grenoble School of Management. Her robust educational background comes along 15 years of experience with top employers such as Deloitte, Amazon, Oracle. فبعرف الميليو تبعنا كتير منيح. وأنا كتير مبسوط إنه جوانا موجودة معنا بنفس الغرفة. فهلا فينا نحكي مع بعضنا من دون ميكرويات. Roy, first question to you. I heard you speaking in different occasions about the need for a metamorphosis. In metamorphose, it's not just about evolution, it's about metamorphosis. And I will start having the market insight with Joanna. The economic roundup. Joanna, the floor is yours, please.
Thank you, Gabi, and thank you everyone for this great opportunity. On October 17, 2019, the Lebanese people were quite consumed by the culminating challenges hitting at various levels, the political, economic, financial, and social. The resilience of the Lebanese and their ability to adapt, historically and culturally perceived as great differentiators, have reached an unprecedented limit in their perpetual search for joie de vivre, safety, and growth. The eternal Lebanese drama series conquered with traitorous oil prices, a global pandemic, racial frictions, and geopolitical tensions. While the world is looking at ways to prevent the COVID-19's positive impact on the environment, to save jobs and create new ones leveraging the digital disruption of certain sectors, and to support vulnerable groups at various levels, Lebanon seems still stuck in square zero, but we still have some hope. So to start with, we will look at some economic figures, and then we will look at figures that are specific to the ICT sector. From an economic standpoint, basically we will pause to look at some numbers. The source is the IMF database pertaining to the economy in Lebanon. The first one is the GDP. Basically, it measures the size of the economy and its growth. And we see how it shrank between 2018 and 2019. For 2020, of course, we don't have reliable and final numbers yet. For the real GDP growth, basically the growth of the economy within the Lebanese borders, we also see how it shrank. For inflation, which is a reflection of how increase in prices is sustained over time, the situation at this point of time is felt by all Lebanese, as it is something that everyone feels, even if they do not have access to accurate numbers for the inflation rate. As for the gross government debt, we also see, similarly to other key economic indicators, how it has worsened from 2018 to 2019, and it continues to do so. The gross government debt, basically, it includes the debt owned by the government, such as the social security, and but it does not include the debt owned by the government to itself. So it's all in all the amount of debt the government has issued and debt that has not matured yet. Same for the gross external debt, which is another indicator for the debt that we borrowed from foreign lenders, including commercial banks, governments, and international financial institutions. Another important economic indicator is the current account deficit, which indicates basically the extent to which there's depreciation because of higher reliance on imports. So as we have noticed, even now in the current situation, how we are heavily relying on imports, which has worsened our overall economic situation. The current account deficit shows basically how we rely on imports, and it shows basically the deficit itself, because it's basically a measure for the Lebanon's foreign trade and how it shrank, and it continues to shrink over time. The last number is the reserves in billion US dollars. It includes for Lebanon, foreign currency, and it also includes the euro bonds. And the last number we have is from September 2019. A lot of people do not trust the numbers, but we thought that having an overall economic rundown would give an indication about the situation, especially that most of the people who are attending the seminar are basically scientific people. So in a nutshell, it does not require advanced analytical skills to understand how intricate Lebanon's situation is. And instead of dwelling over the root cause and who to blame, the Lebanese, as we all know, are in dire need to figure things out. And in similar times, crisis management is not the only need, leadership is, hence this roundtable. And in an effort to look at the brighter side of our beloved country, there is still hope in a few sectors, and there's surely still trust in the Lebanese themselves. So I'm very happy to be here. And the next slide, Gabi, if we could move to the next slide, we will look at the ICT as a specific sector, as an important sector in the Lebanese economy. Basically, the major role it plays in the economy in Lebanon, how our cultural advantage provides an edge in this sector vis-a-vis our other countries. And we will also look at some of the ICT priorities for Lebanon and how ICT can play a pivotal role in the Lebanese economy. So if we look briefly at the numbers, we see that the situation has evolved with regards to the ICT market in Lebanon between 2004 and 2019. the size of the local market grew from $450 million to $1,000 million. The size of the exports, we have the numbers from 2004. As much as they are also revealing about the potential of what Lebanon could export in terms of solutions, software, etc. In terms of growth, we see the declining situation over the past couple of years, even though between 2000 and 2004, the ICT sector grew by 15%, which is again an indicator for the potential that remains untapped for the sector. We have also done a small simulation. If the ICT sector grows at 12%, the estimated market size could reach $2.7 billion, and the export size could reach $420 million. This is only an indication for the potential digital and knowledge economy in Lebanon, especially that we can tap into amazing talent, ICT professionals who work within ICT companies in Lebanon, or ICT professionals who serve other sectors. The total exceeds 13,000 Lebanese professionals. Now, to be able to take things forward, there are 4 primary angles that would be interesting to discuss later on with Roy and through the Q&A, which are the access to capital, the capacity building, the enabling legal framework, and Gabi, you can talk more, for instance, about the cybersecurity, and the physical infrastructure that would help enable the ICT sector in Lebanon. That was, in a nutshell, both the economic roundup and the ICT market overview. The numbers of the ICT market itself demonstrate how it is an untapped source for value creation through job maintenance and job creation. These are truly peculiar times to prepare for the future. However, in the face of uncertainty, there's an immense and pressing responsibility towards the country and the Lebanese to formulate a strategy for the ICT sector. One enabling value creation as mounting pressures are conspiring to make the future of Lebanon quite murky.
Well, thank you very much, Joanna. Thank you very much for the roundup. I would like to discuss in maybe 1 or 2 questions very quickly the 2 figures that I can see here in line number 3 in this table, which are the negative numbers in the growth in 2019 and 2020, minus 30% and minus 60%. Those are figures that are estimated by our daily contact with the companies in town, and practically those are very alarming figures. Minus 30% and minus 60% in 2020, it means that it has a direct impact on job creation and job preservation. So what is your take concerning, the this issue of jobs to be preserved and jobs to be created in order to create growth?
Okay, so this is alarming, but reviving the economy through the digital economy is definitely an easier task than reviving the economy through agriculture. So this is something that we have to consider, especially that we have talent, we have an edge with regards to the cultural competitive edge, the creativity of the Lebanese. So this is something we should definitely leverage. So basically, we have relevant talent. The regulations and the infrastructure may be hindering, but so far they could be leveraged. And what we need is definitely funding and investment. So basically, the companies and the individuals or entrepreneurs access to capital to be able to take things forward quickly, while maintaining jobs, 2, creating others, while supporting companies that are being created and leveraging Lebanon as a hub for many global countries, as an outsourcing hub for talent, particularly for jobs pertaining to us.
Well, thank you very much, Joanna. I will go back to Roy. Can you hear me well, Roy? Well, great. This is great. Can you hear Roy at the same time? Okay, very good. I will stop sharing the screen for the moment because or maybe I can go back to my original first screen. Okay, and then come back to you, Roy, with the metamorphosis idea. We were talking about doing a metamorphosis, and this is something quite, let's say, it's a bully way of tackling things. So, what is your take on the metamorphosis that we need to undertake?
The idea of metamorphosis, we talk about change management, reforms or whatever. I start thinking into metamorphosis that means a total transformation, the way we see things of our culture. This is, I'm very glad to talk to the youth. And what's important is that most of you are extremely skilled, but you are suffering and living in such a bad national and poor country in terms of performance. My idea is, if I want just to give a name to our is succeeding in adversities. We all know the adversities we have actually in Lebanon. Our job is to succeed. This is our challenge, succeeding in adversities. To start with a global view, many people think that we are in the fourth industrial revolution. Industrial that doesn't mean manufacturing, that means the input of a human, and human that means labor, capital, and technology. And I'm not sure that I agree with the fourth. Maybe we are entering the fifth one, and it will be the last of all revolutions, because when I'm saying last, I'm saying that I'm meaning that it's the mother. This technology, the revolution in technology is coming revolutions, and it's important that we have, and this unique fact is that we need, in fact, to reinvent ourselves on a permanent basis, and not only the change is accelerating, there is an acceleration of change, and probably most of you have seen that in their few years of experience. What we need actually is to believe in ourselves, believe in yourself, and this is why we need a vision. We will try to give a vision in this talk. I will not draft a strategic plan. Also, we need a strategic plan, and I've never seen that in Lebanon.
We are going to come to that, Roy. At the moment, we are going to come to a strategic plan concerning the ICT. But as you know, the figures are lacking at this point, and we are in an urgent need to have a market survey detailing all the potential that we have and the difficulties and the challenges that we have. So this is something that we are planning as PCA and LITS to achieve in a short period of time. It is cross-sectional, and the survey that we are planning to achieve is actually a cross-sectional. Yes. So the other point was tackled a little bit by Joanna a little bit a few minutes ago. It was about the growth. So you say in your book that if we don't have growth, we will not be able to thrive or to succeed in going out of this the state of the economy that we are living in today. So what is your take on the growth issue and the inclusion issue also? Because when we say growth, we say creation of value, but when we say inclusion, it is creation of jobs. So the relationship between those two aspects is extremely important for us. So let's have your opinion on that.
Advantage of some comparative advantages of the country, the migration, the diaspora, the nice weather. But the only engine of growth internationally, globally, to the 150 countries, the main one, it will be only the ICT. And we have competitive edges on it. What I want to say is that this digital economy also needs to create the social interactions, and it creates also this kind of inclusion that we lacked in the last 30 years. And the ICT is automatically an inclusive engine of growth.
Before going back to the skills and the competitive edge of the people of this country, maybe we can address a little bit the opportunities of growth. In which area do you think that we will be able to do growth in ICT?
Possibilities, let's say, of vectors of growth in the ICT. I am myself on the board of one of the main hospitals in Lebanon, probably one of the 2 or 3 largest one. And we are moving now. We are drafting our strategic plan to move from the hospital, traditional hospital, to a new hospital. What we mean, or a D-hospital, a digital hospital. We need, let's say, from record to billing to invoicing to collection, and definitely AI to analyze also the reports, get the statistics, have the data. So, and this is one hospital. So you have also, you can go into agriculture, into water, into robotics, automation, IoT, nanotech, biotech, fertilizers, seeds, 3D printing, blockchain, everything, biometrics, camera. So you have a whole range. I'm not sure that we can be successful in all of them. My advice is to focus on 2 or 3 and build a cluster around 2 or 3, starting from the kindergarten until reaching the job market, going through the secondary and the universities, the research, etc. So this is the key success factors, to focus on 2 or 3 of these subsectors that we can reach. Israel, focus on the security, because they have this knowledge due to their experience, military experience.
Yes. Finland is focusing on education.
Sorry?
Finland is focusing on education.
Yes, and
and Estonia is focusing on government services.
Yes, Estonia is a good benchmark. It's 1.8 million. Extremely small. It's less than 25% of the Lebanese probably population. Depends how do we calculate it. But anyway, so it's this domain is full of opportunities. The issue is to focus on few of them. I guess that because we have medical schools, this is health could be one of them, and maybe also analyzing later on. I think in the IoT, especially also later on education, is also it's a cross-sectional technology. So you have to sit down.
Why aren't you mentioning fintech? I believe that you have a competitive edge in fintech. And خليني خبرك قصة. Yesterday I knew, I don't remember if I told you this, that a local company, I will not cite the name because it's not official yet, it's not in the press. A local fintech company was selected by the EU as part of the top 15 fintech companies in the world with a global certification to operate in all countries in the world, which is an amazing story. This is an amazing story. And sooner or later, I will take you to meet them and to see what they do. But it means that we have an edge also in fintech. I definitely agree with you on health. I definitely agree on education, but fintech might be also something extremely interesting to address.
Could be again center for the Middle East or whatever, or you can also go globally. My son is working actually on a product that works globally. He's living here. The possibilities are unlimited.
Now we are talking about your son. So the normal question is, who is actually going to drive this growth? Who is driving this growth? What is the profile of the people who are going to drive this growth? I know you have your theory about it.
First of all, we need a good technology and a cheap one. This is why I'm against privatizing actually, because I don't want to give it to some sharks that will overbill the young people in Tripoli or in Bekaa or in Beirut. So I think that the cost and the quality of the backbone of the whole system is the hardware and the technology and the access to the international market.
Who are the people?
This is the prerequisite. What I'm mentioning is because it's an important prerequisite. The second one is the people, and you have also you know that in Estonia you have 4,800 companies in IT. Here we are happy with probably with a small number at Tech or at any or other accelerators or whatever. So we need a different culture. That we need more universities working on being funded. So we need more funds on this, and we have a fiscal issue here, and it is very, very tight. Banks to raise funds from outside, and in order to raise funds from outside, in Germany, Lebanon, US, and Lebanon, in terms of the cost of labor, this is our cost of time. It's very important. Legislation also, you need a couple of legislation that could at least unleash the potential out in your strategigic plan that you are willing or you are planning to build. My advice is think global. Don't think only Lebanon. Think global, and consider that it's for your survival. So either you win by exporting, or you will be exported yourself and uprooted from your culture and from your country. We have strengths in this country. We have a multicultural and we have also multi skills we have also the time zone is important. Our time zone, the GMT +2, and you can export for some places, especially when if you have some data centers that could be used, or command center, whatever. You have many advantages. Also, you have to be always ahead of the curve. Predict a future. Don't work for the demand and the needs of today. You have to work for to predict the needs of tomorrow. Keep always this kind of edge, because I think that this is an ever evolving and rapidly, as I said before, rapidly evolving environment. So
I have a question asked to Joanna, actually. Joanna, maybe you can answer me. I was hoping to hear about the role of women in this growth. Yeah, you agree with me that women are going to drive the change? Roy, you agree with me that women are going to drive the change? I will take the opinion of Joanna, but just tell me yes or no.
They are already driving the change at home.
The change at home. Okay, fine. Joanna, what is your take on women being a major driver for the change and major participants in the growth of this industry?
I think any talented person would be a driver to the change, disregard the gender.
Okay, she's not very fan of women.
To the contrary, that is at the heart of empowering women, because they do not need to be empowered.
Okay, fine. All right. Women needs to be empowered, and men need to be empowered, and youngsters need to be empowered. Everybody needs to be empowered. And empowerment comes from education, and it comes also from capital, from the money. Today, we have a major issue with the access to capital in this country. It was at a moment, it was somehow addressed by the Circular 331 of the central bank, but now that the Circular 331 is not available anymore, we have to find other ways of financing the ICT sector, the startups, the development of this sector, and all of this. So what do you think? Do you have a feel, because I know that you are in the field of economy, financing, and you are talking about probably all the instances, the worldwide instances that are providing finance. Do you feel that investors have appetite still in Lebanon?
Lebanese always succeed outside their domestic environment. So I think that people are ready. But I advise you as association to go after the World Bank finance or IFC to the MEGA to guarantees the investment of the international investors, or invent or try to found your companies in a stable environment. Also, legally, the company is incorporated outside Lebanon, but the work is subcontracted to Lebanese technical experts here. There are ways. Try to get some money from state. You have to do this. Is your job, guys. The job of the two associations is to knock on all possible doors. I can advise you. I can introduce you to some of them. This is very important, because don't count on loans. It's not anyway. It's extremely expensive. It's not accessible to people just starting their businesses. But there is no seed money for them. So I think that you should go to the international markets and tap the funds where the money is. I want just to also stress on the cultural side of this. You have, first of all, to get most of you guys. I don't know you personally, but I know the culture of my country. All of them in this culture, they all think we have the culture of the zero-sum game. No, there is no zero-sum game. You have a win-win also. It's not a zero-sum game. This culture is destroyed Lebanon. So, and you have to move from competition to cooperation to co-opetition. That means you have to sit and have talks, meeting like this one, and working on an agenda. This is important for you guys. This is what I started by saying. This is the metamorphosis that you need. So technical skills, even if you are brilliant, bright persons in technically, it's a necessary condition, but not a sufficient one. So you need to engage all together socially to work through your association. These are very important in Lebanon. This is a big issue. It's a revenue factor and not as a factor of growth. It's a revenue factor for the budget. This is, and the companies are earning too much money compared to what you could have created if the cost was much cheaper. So
رح تقوم الناس علينا روي. We're going to have a big fight now with the internet providers. I have to pass the microphone to Rudy, who actually has maybe a question or two before going to talk a little bit how to address this friendly environment we are living in, how we can challenge it and actually pass through it and succeed. رودي لأعطيك الكلام please.
Hey, thank you. السؤال هو من يوسف جلول, from Yusuf Jalloul. I appreciate all that is being said. However, we are living in a country facing the toughest combined challenges in any country is facing around the world. How do you expect companies and entrepreneurs to get financing or their profits into Lebanon while there's no trust in the banking system or the government? We need to impose on current and future government to adopt transformation and implement laws to secure our sector and allow us to work freely, because now we can't even pay our own bills.
I understand your concern, and it's really probably the concern of every person, every entrepreneur. My advice, I gave you this, incorporate any company outside. Don't bring now money in Lebanon. And keep your money outside until we have a safe banking environment. For the time being, it's my personal advice to you. And I told you, I started my talk by saying, succeeding in adversities. You have to be creative. But you cannot be creative only yourself if you are a technical person. You have to alliances with others, either inside Lebanon or outside Lebanon, or subcontract. You know, I will tell you one thing. I was the first exporter to Lebanon, from Lebanon to Europe in 1979. In war, we exported. I was the CEO of a company that exported to international markets, not just art and crafts, to international markets. So you have to find your way. If you don't have all the experience, if you like this experience, I would be very happy to assist any one of you under umbrella of your associations. And it's a pro bono. Sorry.
I believe Maya is requesting the floor for an announcement. Go ahead, please, Maya.
Yes, please. I just want to tell everyone, if you have any question, please write it down in the Q&A section, not in the chat. We will answer all your questions. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Maya. Thank you. Roy, again, we have talked a lot about, yeah, and the question of Yusuf is actually a very valid question, but it gives us it gives us the opportunity to go to my original section, which is how to address the unfriendly business environment that we are living in. يعني انه كثير صعب لبنان كثير صعب، بس رغم هالشيء في ناس عايشين بلبنان وعم ياخذوا جوائز عالميه وعم ببيعوا products بكل بلاد العالم, and this is something extremely remarkable. This is very remarkable. And what are they doing? Are they just forgetting about this unfriendly business environment, and they are doing their own cocoon of facilities, services, etc., and addressing this market? يعني اليوم ما في كهرباء بنجيب موتور، ما في مي بنجيب سيترن، ما في انترنت، شو بنعمل؟
We have actually we have to work. It's a choice. It's a personal choice. Either you want to live in Lebanon with all the advantages and disadvantages, or you will try to go through this transition period. It will take probably a couple of years. راح نطلع من جورة قبل سنتين أو ثلاثة. بس بعد ما نطلع after going through this crisis, it will be a fantastic country, especially if you mitigate the risks of being in Lebanon. It's very difficult for a person who myself, I don't work even in Lebanon. I'm one of the person who are suffering a lot in this country. But still, you have. I made my choice for myself. This personal choice, staying in Lebanon for many reasons. I think that protect yourself. The most important is incorporating a company outside Lebanon. You can go incorporate in Estonia. I know a young lawyer who is doing this for many companies, Lebanese companies, or in Lithuania, or even in Cyprus, and you don't need even to go there. So there are possibilities. You protect your money, you protect your legal status. So these are the most important. They have the turnover is of the ICT sector is $3.6 billion, excluding, of course, the hardware. It's approximately 6% of the workforce, 4,800 companies in Lebanon. In Lebanon, I think that for the employee, if we consider an average or a median, not a median salary of 2,000, you need to produce probably $250,000 per employee. That means a company of 10 persons could bill approximately $2.5 million a year. This is the kind of companies, small to medium companies that you need to build. This is not, we don't need. You need smart entrepreneurs like you, but you have always to every single movement in technology or market or finance.
Very good. And I have an answer to Ahmed Sroor about the visa to Cyprus. He's saying we cannot get visa to Cyprus. It's not only to Cyprus; it's the whole Schengen space. And it's not because we are Lebanese; it's because of the COVID issue. So this is going to be solved within the next 15 days, I think.
No, the next 5 days.
5 days, I hope so. My friend Andre Zain, don't go away. I will ask you a question in a few moments, okay? Because I know that you are a great entrepreneur with great technological skills, and you are exporting to all over the place. And I would like to ask you a question in a few minutes, okay? Roy, I believe I have to intervene here about this environment that we are suffering from. And I believe, frankly, you know, a lot of people who have worked and who have developed companies, they have today over 100 or 200 or 300 developers, business analysts, and project managers. They have started here in the late 70s and in the early 80s. And they have passed through all, but really all, the difficulties of the war, of the after war, and the corruption, and the lack of services, and all of that. So those people today have a unique position in the Middle East, and some of them in the whole world. I will not cite names, but I'm sure all of us, we know at least 2 or 3 or maybe more than that. We can do a lot. We can do a lot while being here and still enjoy life in Lebanon. Today, things are difficult. The economy is very bad. The dollar is on the rise, and the Lebanese pound is at its lowest rates. But this is something that will finish. This is something that we can turn into an opportunity. And do you agree with me that this is also an opportunity for us? This, very low economical situation is an opportunity for us?
The exchange rate is irrational. And I think it will stabilize very soon when the political situation will stabilize. This is a unique country. So the emotional factor in Lebanon is also important, and the mindset also of Lebanese. I think that we should not lose faith in this country. This is our job to make this country work again. My generation is different from your generation. We fought at least to keep this country free. So you now have to keep this country going on. It's a country of full of promises for the youth for many reasons, especially that that the family side, at least the family factor in Lebanon, is extremely important also. We have our pros and cons. We have, definitely, and the pros are they weigh much more than the cons. So it's a personal choice. I think that keep faith in this country, protect yourself, mitigate the issues you can mitigate. If you don't find how to mitigate, talk to each other, brainstorm. This is very important. And my feeling, and I said in a couple of years, you will be. It will be a different country. This country, the competitive edge of this country it's unbeatable in terms of culture, of many cultures, of trilingual, and the agility of minds. These are the 3 main, I consider, key success factors for the ICT in Lebanon.
Questions from the audience. We have former Deputy Dr. Ghenwa Jalloul with us. I believe she has a small intervention, and maybe she can tell us about her experience, because now she is running an accelerator, Torch, which is quite an interesting endeavor in this country. And maybe she can share with us a little bit her difficulties, but also the positive things that she can see today can happen to her and to her activity in Lebanon. Dr. Junwar, تفضلي.
Thank you so much. I'd like first to express my appreciation for this panel, especially nowadays that Lebanon, may I say, that is deteriorating into the Stone Age. So it's hopeful that people like us and the ICT in general would give a hope for this country. I appreciate all the interventions, but I'd like to mention we in Lebanon never lacked the vision, nor the strategy, nor the projects for the ICT. Since 2000, I appreciate Joanna's numbers when she said that there was 15% growth between 2000 and 2005 for the ICT sector. Then because there was the political leadership and the action plan and the implementation to have ICT play a major role in the economy of Lebanon. Then I was a member of the Lebanese parliament and I established with the support of Rafiq Hariri and in the parliament, actually, the Information and Technology Committee, I drafted the e-transaction law, but it was enacted in 2018 after 15 years. We also laid cornerstones for technology zone. I believe the cornerstone for the Damour technology zone is still there. That was stopped. And we built, I actually built the first e-government implementation for the e-Mukhtars, and we trained Mukhtars of Beirut as a starting point, but that was never implemented. I believe the most important thing for this ICT to blur, I believe now in the private sector, so, but there should be a political will and political leadership. And this is what the sector is now misses. Actually, there's a problem in the whole, in running or resolving issues for the country at large. So the ICT is not being given the attention that it needs to be given. I would like to mention also in 2015 with 331, we had the opportunity as an ICT sector to be financed. So we have many accelerators were established, and also there was financing for ideas and creativity and startup. But that being said, in 2016, it continued, and then it started diminishing in 2017 and 18, and then, as you mentioned, 331 stopped. I'd like to add also in between 2002 and up till 2020, there was funding, but in terms of loan, non-investment through with Mr. Dr. Abou Khatir, we established an organization, semi-private, where anybody who has
Dr.
an
Abou
idea
Habib.
or project, Dr. Khatir Abi Habib,
Yes.
can also take loan for that. And there was loans specific for technology. And even EDAL had some support for technology companies. So, and we drafted a strategy, and there was another strategy and a third strategy. So I believe now, what I wanted to say is that, okay, Torch was an example of an accelerator whose focus was to build the capacity of graduates of universities in Lebanon and encourage them to build them in technical and as software engineers and help them transform. It was a transformation pre-accelerator. Their idea
Dr. Ghinwa, you tackled the issue actually of legislation. So we have MP Sheikh Nadim Jmail, who has presented lately a law about the new type of companies, اسمهم SALT. Maybe Sheikh Nadim, you can tell us a little bit about this new legislation, about the startup and the qualifications of those companies and the advantages that they can get in the new legislation.
Before you give the floor to Sheikh Nadim, I would like to conclude quickly, actually, to say that we did also capacity building and transformation of youth, and some of our graduates are now working programming for Amazon. and some of them has their own startups, but we were trapped, or they were trapped like any other person in the ICT sector with the lack of funding and financing. Now, what I want to say now at this stage, at this situation and now in Lebanon, where everything is really shutting down, no electricity, no internet, no money, no banks. And even if you have money in the bank, you cannot use them, you cannot make online payment. We need not to put strategies anymore. What we need now is an action plan. For example, now there is support for industries in Lebanon. Everybody who is a manufacturer is getting support. Why not the ICT sector be one of these sectors to get support like any other sector? This sector could give hope to Lebanon. So we need as well to be financed like any other sector in Lebanon who is an industry. This is one action that we can take. We can talk also to whoever in charge to tell them that we as an ICT sector, we need to make online payments, so they cannot shut off, treat us like any other business. We are not commerce, we are industrialists as well. So I believe if we raise the flag in this direction and put a few important points for this sector to revive, it might be the window of hope for Lebanon.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ghenwa.
Really.
Thank you very much for your intervention. I will resume now with the session. I don't have a lot of time left. I need to take the intervention of Sheikh Nadim about the new legislation of the startup companies. Sheikh Nadim, please.
Hello, everybody. It's a pleasure to listen to you. It was very, very interesting. I just want to say that I don't know if today is the perfect time to talk about all these, but I think we still have to keep the resilience and to keep moving forward, because although the country is going through a very difficult moment and very difficult situation, it's very important also to keep in mind the global vision of the country and the global aspiration. It's true that we have a lot of problems, specifically in banks, in payments, in getaways. It's not only about the payment for the industry of technology. It's about also all the payments that are being done by Lebanese. I just want to say, for example, 1 week ago, my license of Microsoft has expired, and I need to pay $60 to renew my window license, and my credit card is not going through. So this is I think a major challenge and a major problem that we're facing in Lebanon, that all the licenses that we paid like 1 year ago and that is getting expired in this month we're not able to make it renew. And I think this is one of the major challenge also before going forward and speaking about all the other problems that we have. Now, just to get back to your question, Gabi, concerning the SALT law that we have presented, I frankly didn't follow up lately, especially after the revolution on October 17, because I believe that we have a lot of priorities that we have to do, and the government, that we still need the opinion of the government on this law. Unfortunately, the previous government didn't give us its approval. We're still waiting for the approval of this government, but I think that this government has a lot of challenges and problems and issues that has to solve probably before getting to SALT. In addition,
بس شو في القانون؟ يعني it might be interesting to understand شو في بقلبه القانون.
I'm going through it now, just now. Actually, the law has created a new type of company, which is called SALT, which is Société Anonyme Libanaise technology. And it's the SAL, the usual SAL, the usual Lebanese company type, and we added the T to it, which became SALT, in order to create a new type of company that has all the advantages and all the incentive that a small type of investor can use in order to get an easier way to do business. We took all the difficulties and the challenges that the investors or entrepreneur used to have while they were creating their own companies, and specifically when they were going to get new investments, new money growth, etc. And we took all the challenges that they had, and we tried to put an end to them. So, for example, for being able to create a company, you needed to have 30 million Lebanese pounds in order to be able to create the company. We downgraded this number to 5 million Lebanese pound. Now, of course, 5 million. We were talking when the Lebanese pound was still at 1,500. Today we are at another level, but okay, whatsoever. So we downgraded the capital of the company. Not downgraded. We lowered the capital of the company. We created a lot of incentive relative to the daman ijtimai, to the social security. We created a lot. We gave a lot of incentive related to tax payments, tax withhold, etc., in order to facilitate for the first 3 years of the company. We have facilitated them for not paying taxes until they reach a turnover of 200 million Lebanese pound. Also, we've done a lot. We have introduced a lot of incentive related to the capital expenditure. So when an investor comes to inject money in a company that already exists, it would be easier for the creators, for the entrepreneurs, for the fund that is, or for the person who is injecting the money, and especially to give them both a parallel balance of power in the company. So this is very important, and we got a lot of very good feedback from the entrepreneur and from the people that used to have a lot of problem when some angel funders or like other people comes and inject money, and they break the balance of that exists already in the company. Also, what we have.
راح صوتك شيخ نديم.
Okay, هلا عم تسمعني؟
Hello, are you still around?
Okay.
We lost your voice.
Why? Hello. Can you hear me?
And hello.
Yes, can you hear me?
Now I can hear you again. بس يعني وصلت الفكرة.
Okay. Ending. Okay. It's very okay. One more point, which is I want to mention. Usually, you have a lot. The entrepreneurs had a lot of problem when they create the company. We all know that it takes one company over 10 that succeeded and continue its life through a maturity period. So 9 company over 10 doesn't succeed and stop in the middle of their project. So what we've done also, we saw that there is a lot of difficulties for company to liquidate at the end. So we facilitate the liquidation procedures in order for
yes,
companies.
This is very important. Exactly. This is very important. Maybe yes. Extremely
so
important.
This is one of the major change. Also, we have we gave access to the directors and shareholders to be able to get into the social security, because one of the major also problem is that when an entrepreneur gets into a company, he can't access the social security, and this gave a lot of burden for a young person who is entering the market, not to have any social security or not even have any insurance or any support. So this is the social net that we have provided to the company. This is in a nutshell. Sorry, maybe I've been long, but this is in a nutshell what SALT is.
Thank you. Merci, Sheikh Nadeem. Thank you very much for this intervention. I would like to ask a question to Andre Zain, who is an entrepreneur and a techie and a real Lebanese technology resistant, let's say. I want to ask Andre. Andre, so what is your take about what we are saying now about this unfriendly business environment and the way you are addressing this? I know that you have taken the decision to work in Lebanon, from Lebanon to the outside world, and this is a decision that you have taken after living in the Gulf for several years. Why did you take this decision?
Decision to come back to Lebanon, you mean? Yes. So you're asking me why have I taken the decision outside of Lebanon?
No. Why did you take the decision to work in Lebanon for the outside?
Okay. So I have spent 25 years of my time working abroad. So I have traveled the world and started and worked
the seven seas. I have traveled the world and the seven seas.
And during the 25 years, I have actually immigrated 4 times from Lebanon. So my heart was always in Lebanon. So every 3-4 years, I would come into Lebanon and try to stay, but this wouldn't work. Events would happen that would make me leave again. I'm really sorry to say that after spending 9 years lately, in 2011, I have started my own company, Technorian, in Lebanon, and decided to work on digitization of banks, and finally spinned off a fintech called Swittle. At the time when I was about to launch the fintech, this whole thing started. So we were during last summer starting to feel the economy disaster that has happened, and I could not sustain waiting in Lebanon. So basically, I have taken relocate my head offices outside of Lebanon, and I'm actually talking right now.
شو قصتك أندري؟ عم نشد ظهرنا فيك. لا عم بمزح. I understand what you are saying, and this is actually what Troy was saying. إنه be independent, يعني move around and have an office here and outside, and bank account here and outside. And you are not the average, tech company. You are not an average tech company. You are a grown up tech company with a lot of maturity and a lot of experience and a lot of value in the products and services that you offer. So things are different for you.
This is true.
What do you بس شو بتنصح ستارت اب؟
بنصح الستارت اب اول انه يفكر انه يشتغلوا شيء لبرا، لانه don't try at this point to force yourself into the Lebanese market. It won't be fruitful for you, and it is not good for the economy. A proposal a long time ago to the previous Minister of Technology to try to create some kind of a cocoon, sometimes of a protection for the ICT sector in Lebanon, protect them environmentally, to protect them financially. The idea of it is perfect. I didn't know about it, but now I know about it. Deputy Jmayel. But like Dr. Ghanwa said before, we need an action immediately. We have lost the time, unfortunately. So I have spent the last 9 to 10 months on survival mode, trying to
keep my employees, keep my my intellectual property running. But I could not see any returns from Lebanon anymore, so I have started looking abroad. Would just like to give an example of what they did in Cyprus. In 2013, they went similar condition like we did, and they came out of it a year ago. If you come to Cyprus and see the welcoming attitude they have, the investment promotion agency to innovation companies and companies, it's as if I feel at home right now. I'm currently talking to you from Cyprus. I'm being welcomed by the authorities, by the governments. They have connected me to banks, and we are in serious negotiations right now to finalize some very good deals here and in Europe. So this is the intention. I'm going to maintain my business in Lebanon, but for the time being, while the infrastructure is collapsing, I will not keep employees in Lebanon except some support staff till things are re-established, and I will try to do some contract Lebanese companies or individuals on a personal basis to try to bring in some funds to Lebanon. This is my aim. I chose Cyprus first because of the welcoming attitude, their interest in and innovation, and also for the proximity from Lebanon, because Lebanon is still in my heart.
Very good. I would like to add on this about Cyprus, and maybe this is something I would like Sheikh Nadim to listen to. Maybe it is something important also to address in the parliament. Income tax on companies in Cyprus is 12.5%. It is lower than the Lebanese rate. But the same income tax for companies who are producing intellectual property like you is 2.5%.
It goes down.
It goes down to 2.5.
So what's going to happen is my fintech now is being registered, or we are sending our application for what they call the startup innovation status. If we get the approval, it takes about 5 weeks for the approval. If we get the approval, depending on the level of innovation that you provide, you can get a tax cut up to 80%. So as you said, it drops down to 2.5. And on the top of all of that, dividend, that there is no tax on dividend in here. Employee taxation on the revenue level is free of charge up to $20 a year. So it makes a lot of difference for us.
Yes, and we are
you get also access to banks and funds.
Yes, let me tell you, Andre, that at the PCA and LITS, we are lobbying for the moment to make modifications on Law 360. The Law 360, which can classify the ICT companies and give them 10 years of tax exemption. بدها شوية tweaking عم نشتغل عليها. We are in and some member of the parliament to make this modification to the regulations.
بس بدي أزيد بعد شغلة. بدنا ننتبه على الوقت. نحن معنا الوقت كثير. IT professionals هودي اسرع ناس تيفلوا، اسرع ناس تيرجعوا يشتغلوا برا. الناس يلي عم بيجوا لهون بيتركوا لبنان، بيوقفوا شغلهم على الطياره، بيرجعوا بكفوا هن بالمطار. It is so easy to lose these professionals, and this is the only sector that can bring fresh money into the country at no cost. The only thing you pay for is a laptop every 2-3 years or every 4 years, and that's it. So you don't import any goods, and the only thing you do is bring in money to the country.
Okay, thank you very much. Rudy is telling me that we have spent all our time. Roy, I hope that you have enjoyed listening to ideas.
Advice. We didn't talk about some options for young people working in the ICTs.
Yes. Yes. This is نعم. I think it is included in the SALT. I think it's included in the new regulation.
Sorry, which I didn't get which clause?
Stock option is important.
عم بيحكي عن موضوع stock options. Is this accounted for in the new regulation?
Yes, we've done a lot of I didn't talk about it all, but there is a stock option. There is a lot of options that we included in the shareholding, especially with the finance, the bridge financing, everything. So we've included all kind of investments techniques to help the entrepreneur to raise their money and to go forward, especially coordinating between the holding company and the SALT. So yes, we included it in the SALT draft.
Very good. Okay, Roy, thank you very much for your intervention and for your positive vibes. I thank all the persons who participated in running this event. Thank you, Joanna, very much for your intervention and very interesting figures. Maya, thank you very much. President Emile Mkerzil, President George Khouairi, and my dear friend Rudy Shoushany, thank you for setting up the technical platform. And I give the last mention or the last word to Maya. Faddali.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Gabi, and sorry for the technical issues we faced today. Hopefully, all will be solved for the next session. I would like to thank you all for attending this session. And as we ran out of time, all questions that haven't been answered will be answered by email. Another session of LabTech will be scheduled soon, so keep posted. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maya. Thank you all, and see you in the next session. I hope that we will have a smooth session too. Thank you very much. Yalla, bye-bye.